Okay, so welcome back for part 2 of my Thrillerathon vlog. It is day number 5 of Thrillerathon, and I just finished a book this morning. It is about 5 p.m. and I've just been so busy I haven't had a chance to update you guys. But when I left off last vlog, I had 100 pages left in The Missing by C.L. Taylor, and I finished this morning. It was quite a chunky book, and I'm really happy I got through it. I didn't love this one. I thought the ending was not that satisfying, and I wish that it had been a little more faster paced. I did like the twists and turns along the way, but I don't really know how I felt about the amnesia portion. I don't know how much I liked that. It was a little bit confusing, so I ended up giving this one 3 stars. And then I ended up picking a book up from NetGalley, and that is Mother Knows Best. And this one comes out September 10th, so I wanted to get it read right away. And I'm going to be counting this for the challenge of reading a book with a trope you love. And this centers around a mom and children, and I really like the mom and pregnancy trope. And this one's a little bit confusing to explain, but it follows one woman on 2 different timelines. So currently she is married, she has a child who's I think around 10, and she has another child that passed away like 10 years earlier or 15 years earlier. And she still really grieves that child. He had a hereditary disease and he ended up passing away. And you know that this mother is suffering from agoraphobia, and she is really struggling in her personal life. And someone from her past comes back into her life, and it really shakes her up and makes her agoraphobia worse. And then the past timeline was only a few years after her son had died, and she wanted to have another baby, but she did not want to pass her genes onto this baby and then it die as well. And so she goes to this experimental doctor who does special like gene stuff on embryos. So she's looking to take part in some kind of experimental thing going on. So that's kind of where we're at so far. I'm only 15% in about, so I don't know how I feel about it yet. It seems like it has a little bit of a sci-fi element because I think the things discussed in this book aren't things that are possible. So to me, it kind of reminds me of The One by John Mars, where it has a little bit of a sci-fi element. So I'm kind of curious how the 2 storylines of hers intersect and what happens with this possible experimental thing going on. So I'm going to read more of this. I'm about to sit in on a read-in on the Weebly Book and Book Club, so hopefully I'll get some good reading done and I will come back and update you guys later. Okay, so it's about 10 o'clock and I'm 75% of the way through with Mother Knows Best. And this one to me is an interesting one. It is definitely more sci-fi based because it relies on a kind of technology that I don't think exists yet. And that's where a scientist can make a baby in a petri dish like IVF, but they use 3 different parents instead of 2. And that is a very unique concept. And how it is executed, I think, is supposed to be a thriller, but it is not particularly thrilling in any way. You have a sense of foreboding, you know things aren't going to end well, but none of the like twist really shocked me, and I kind of knew where the storyline was going from the start. So right now I am not loving it. I don't have very much left of it. It's under 300 pages, so I have a quarter of it left. So I might be able to finish it tonight, but I'm a little disappointed in this one. I love things with the trope of like a pregnant woman or a mom and kids, but this one is just a little bit of a letdown at the moment. I want something to shock me, or I want something to really grip me. Right now it's just a little lackluster, so I will finish this and I will probably update you guys tomorrow. Okay, I'm filming on my phone, but I just had to show you guys what I'm having for breakfast. It was supposed to be my dinner tonight, but I'm hungry, so I made it for breakfast. And it is a chicken apple sausage with roasted vegetables, and it's sweet potatoes and Brussels sprouts with bacon. And I tossed the vegetables in olive oil and topped everything with black pepper and maple syrup. The kind of pure maple syrup, not the like really thick stuff. And it is so good. If you guys want like the exact recipe for the veggies, just let me know. But it is amazing, and bacon and Brussels sprouts, if you haven't had that together, it is so good. So I'm gonna dive into this. Okay, so it's afternoon and it is day number 6 of Thrillerathon, and last night I ended up finishing Mother Knows Best, and it only took me about another 40 minutes to finish it. It was a very quick read. Like I said, it was under 300 pages and I thought I was possibly going to finish it, and I did. And this one was pretty underwhelming for me. The positive was at the end it started to be more thrillery. It wasn't as mystery based. It had definitely more fast-paced moments, but all the twists and turns along the way I did see coming and I guessed, so nothing really shocked me. And I ended up feeling a little dissatisfied, so I ended up giving this one 3 stars. And this morning I had a chance to pick up another book, and it's another short one, and so far I'm loving it, and that is Mine by Courtney Cole. And I've never read anything by this author before. This might be her first time writing a thriller novel, because when I looked up Courtney Cole I saw a ton of romance or erotica titles, and this one was like her first thriller, and I've heard some really mixed things about this, and so far I'm really liking it because the main character is just batshit crazy. And it is about a married woman named Tessa who discovers that her husband has been cheating on her with a woman named Lindsay. She basically discovers some text messages on his iPad because his phone and iPad are linked. She discovers that basically he's cheating on her, and there's a storm going on, and somehow she lures the mistress to her house and locks her up in her room and is basically going crazy. And it's going back and forth in perspective between Tessa and Lindsay, and basically it's showing now Tessa interrogating Lindsay and then the months leading up to this incident and how Lindsay and the husband's relationship formed. And I'm really enjoying it. I'm 105 pages in and it's only about 290 pages, so this is definitely something I can finish today. I like stories like this that are about revenge plots and kind of crazy spouses or whatever, but honestly this is like my worst nightmare, like my husband sleeping with another woman who is younger and more beautiful. If I was in this woman's shoes, I really don't know what I would do, and I'm kind of rooting for her to get back at this Lindsay girl. So I'm hoping to finish this soon because I'm really enjoying it. So I will come back and update you once I make more progress. So it's only about an hour and a half later, and I ended up finishing Mine by Courtney Cole. This is an extremely fast read, and I ended up really enjoying it. I've had a lot of 3-star reads during this readathon, 3.5 star. So I thought maybe something was up with me and I was maybe feeling a little slumpy, but I ended up really enjoying this one. I love a really good revenge plot book. This takes the common trope of the wife and the mistress and kind of adds a creepy vibe to it. I wish it had gone a little darker and a little gorier, but even still I ended up really enjoying it, and I ended up giving it 4 stars. Since this is such a short book, I don't really want to say much else of what happens because it's one of those novels that takes place in the span of just a couple of hours, and so you're just seeing into their life for a couple of hours, and if I say much it kind of will give the whole book away. So it's one I think you definitely should check out. I really enjoyed it and I think you guys will too. At 4 o'clock I do have a call I'm doing with the book club on Facebook. We're doing a bullet journal kind of call-in, so we're all going to do our bullet journals for the next month. So I'm really excited for that. And then other than that, I don't have a whole lot of plans today. My husband and I are kind of just enjoying relaxing. We are going out of town on Tuesday, so only a few days away, and we're going out of town for a whole week. So we're kind of trying to just relax and enjoy our time and not stress ourselves out too much. So yeah, I'm just gonna go enjoy the rest of my day, probably pick up another book, and when I do, I will come back and update you. Okay, so it's nearly 11 o'clock and Avery is down to sleep, so I'm being a little bit on the quiet side, but I did pick up a book this evening. I didn't read really much this afternoon, but I picked up one I had out from the library called The Woman Inside by E.J. Scott. And this does not have the best of ratings on Goodreads, but it did sound intriguing and I just picked it up on a whim at my library. And so far I'm 109 pages in, so I'm about a third of the way through. And this book is kind of hard to explain. It's about a married couple named Paul and Rebecca, and clearly there are a lot of lies and secrets in their marriage, and we're following both their perspectives before and after. So there's some paramount event that really shakes up their marriage and changes things for the worse, I think. And we kind of just follow these two people and all the crazy things going on in their personal life and just how ridiculous their marriage is and how much it's falling apart. To me, it's not super thrillery yet. It is more just a insight into this terrible marriage. And there's some event that gets them in a lot of trouble. So like I said, I'm a third of the way through. I'm going to continue reading this tomorrow. I think I'm done for the evening, just going to go to bed. But I hope it picks up because right now I'm just like, man, it's not that great. But it doesn't get the best of ratings, so I'm not that surprised. So I will read more tomorrow and update you in the morning. Okay, so it's day number 7 of Thrillerathon. It's a little bit before noon and my husband and I are about to take Avery out. We're going to get some lunch. And this morning I ended up finishing The Woman Inside by E.J. Scott. And I really did not like this book. It was really slow the last time I checked in with you guys. And then after that third of the way through, it did pick up and it started to get better. but then it took a twist for the weird and very unbelievable, and it was just so ridiculous and not well planned out, I feel like, that I couldn't enjoy it, and I ended up giving it like 2 or 2.5 stars. So this one was definitely not for me. I feel like I wasted however many hours I spent reading this and could have been reading something else. So definitely bummed out about this. I still have 2 more books on my TBR, so I'm thinking of picking up my shortest book on my TBR. That's the challenge. And that would be The Perfect Nanny by Layla Slimani. I feel like this is something I could finish today, and then I could save my Karen Slaughter book for tomorrow. So I'm gonna go run some errands, get some reading in, and I will check back later. Okay, so it's day number 8 of Thrillerathon. It is about noon, and I didn't get a chance to update you guys at all for the remainder of the day yesterday. I didn't do any reading during the day. I just ended up going out with my family, and we had so much to do that I couldn't read until bedtime. And by that time, Avery was already asleep, so didn't get to film an update. Last night, I did get a chance to start an arc from Linwood Barclay called Elevator Pitch, and this one comes out September 17th. And so far, I am not loving this. It reminds me a lot of The Escape Room by Megan Golding, and that one I didn't love, and it's supposed to be like a locked room mystery. And this one is similar because it also centers around elevators, and it goes over a span of a week. You're following Monday through Friday every single day, and something is happening in these buildings with elevators, and people are dying and getting injured. And we're following along a couple different characters. We're following along a detective, also a woman who has affiliation with the mayor, and then a couple of the people who are in the elevators right before they fall to their death. And to me, it just has a ton going on, and so far I'm not very gripped, but I'm hoping I can get this finished today because I want to finish a complete book today. We'll see though, because I'm not super motivated to read it. So right now we're going to go out, do some errands, and then come back. I will get some reading done. I do have to pack and do laundry today because we're going out of town for 8 days tomorrow, and we are driving up to Oregon to visit my in-laws, so we have a lot to do before we leave. When I make some more progress in this book, I will come back and update you guys. Okay, so it's 5 p.m. and I am back to do my final check-in for Thrillerathon. So the last time I checked in this morning, I was reading Elevator Pitch by Linwood Barclay, and unfortunately I DNF'd this book at 42%. I just really didn't like it. I've never read this author before, and I really don't think I jive with his writing style. It reminded me a lot of The Escape Room by Megan Golding, and I didn't like that one either. And this one just had too many perspectives, and I wasn't feeling attached to the story. And it moved so slow that I was falling asleep while reading it, and that is really unusual for me. So I decided to DNF it, and I did put that in my Edelweiss review. So I'm a little bit bummed about that, but I just have to move on. I can't dwell on books that I didn't enjoy. So I'm going to go over the 8 books that I did read and all my star ratings for them, as well as what challenges they count for. The first book I read was A Stranger on the Beach by Michelle Campbell. This one I gave 3.5 stars, and it counts for the challenge of reading an author you've read before. The second book I read is Now You See Me by Chris McGeorge. I gave this 2.5 stars, and it counts for the challenge of reading the newest book on your TBR. The third book I read is Someone We Know by Sherry Lapina. I gave this one 4 stars, and it counts for the challenge of reading your highly anticipated thriller. The fourth book I read is The Woman in the Dark by Vanessa Savage. I gave this 3.5 stars, and it counts for the challenge of reading a book with the creepiest cover. The fifth book I read is The Missing by C.L. Taylor. I gave this 3 stars, and it counts for the challenge of reading the oldest thriller on your TBR. The sixth book I read is Mother Knows Best by Kira Peikoff. I gave this 3 stars, and it counts for the challenge of reading the shortest thriller on your TBR. The seventh book I read is Mine by Courtney Cole. I gave this 4 stars, and it counts for the challenge of reading a book with a trope you love. The eighth book that I read is The Woman Inside by E.G. Scott. I gave this 2 stars, and it counts for the challenge of reading a new to you author. The ninth book that I read but DNF'd is Elevator Pitch by Linwood Barclay. I would have given this probably around 2 stars if I had finished it, and it doesn't count for any challenge. The only challenge I did not complete is reading a host's favorite thriller. I was supposed to read The Good Daughter by Karen Slaughter, but I had read one of her books the week before, and I have to read her newest book for review, so I need a little bit of a break from her books. So I'm going to put this one off. Maybe I'll read it in the fall. I'm kind of bummed I didn't read it this week, but I did read a lot of books, and I'm really happy with all that I read. Let me know if you also participated in Thrillerathon. I would love to see your wrap-ups and your vlogs. I will link all these books down below, as well as the hosts for this readathon, and I will see you guys on my next one. Bye.